Hey, what's going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Your guy Cody here, along with us, Matt from Inside the Horseshoe. Matt, first off, congratulations, my friend, on reaching 1,000 subscribers. How's it feeling right now?
Feels good. Didn't think I would hit 1,000 ever. I thought, I'll stick around 100 at most. Be maybe at 100, kind of stick there. Have a bunch of people commenting, "Hey, you're stupid," but nope. I'm really shocked, and I greatly appreciate everybody that's supported the channel.
Absolutely, man. And this is just the beginning. The hardest thing is that 1,000 for sure. It was such, I know what you mean. It was such a great feeling. I remember when I first started the podcast. I was looking. I was like, man, how many do you have to get paid? And I saw 1,000. I was like, I'm never going to get there ever. When you do, it's just like, holy cow! Look at all the hard work has finally paid off. And you can
Yeah,
actually tangibly look at it. So good job, man. Really proud of you on
thank
that.
you.
And everybody, if you haven't already checked out Matt's channel, be sure to do so. The huge Tyreek Hill trade to the Miami Dolphins today. The Dolphins lost a lot of draft capital. They traded in total 5 draft picks, a first-round pick and a couple fourth, sixth-round. There was a bunch of picks involved in that deal. We're not talking about that deal necessarily. We're going to talk about the potential fallout from this deal from a Miami standpoint and also potentially for a Colts standpoint. And a guy of potential interest, I know Joel Erickson potentially talked about him as a guy that could be moved, is DeVante Parker. Now, people maybe say, well, what would it take for DeVante Parker? I honestly don't think, Matt, it would take a whole lot to get Parker because right now he's the 4th wide receiver. You remember the Dolphins in the offseason, they also signed Cedric Wilson from the Cowboys on top of already having, one of the better receivers in the game right now as well in Jalen Waddle. So I would think overall for DeVante Parker, he's not going to cost a whole lot because he's really not going to be involved much in this Miami offense, you wouldn't think. And also, Matt, what I'm thinking here is he's already had connections to the Colts. The Colts have reportedly had interest in the past in acquiring Parker. They just haven't been able to do so. And really looking at his cap, it's not that much. I think it's right around that 8 to 10 million per year. He has 2 more years left on his contract, coming off a serious injury, which maybe does drive the price down a little bit more. What would be your thoughts on DeVante Parker, and what do you think would be some potential fair compensation that the Colts could give up to get him?
I would really like to get DeVante Parker. He would easily be our number 2 receiver, which he would like. He would like to be a number 2 guy for sure instead of a number 4 receiver. He's not going to play a whole lot if he's going to be the number 4 guy on the team. So honestly, just kind of looking at what other receivers have gone for, I think at most a 5th round. But I think we can get him for a 6th rounder. Um, I honestly don't think it's a whole lot. I mean, you had guys like Amari Cooper go for a 4th and a 6th. So,
Right, and Robert
um,
Woods go for a 6. So
yeah, so I'm thinking probably a Robert Woods type of deal
mhm.
is what it would take. So yeah, I mean, I'd be all for it. He's a guy that can create some separation, which is something I think we need, and I think him and Pittman could balance off each other pretty well. So, I mean, if they're willing to trade him, I mean, they might even release him. But if they want to trade him, I mean, it shouldn't take a whole lot.
I wouldn't think so. I mean, even I would be even open to like a 4th round pick if you really
Mhm.
want him and the Dolphins are playing a little bit of hardball. Like I'd be willing to do that because I think he's a really fantastic receiver when he is available. He's had a little bit of issues of injuries, but before this major injury, he had played in 16 games in 2019 and in 14 games in 2020. So he missed a few games, but he's only a couple of years removed, Matt, from a 1,200-yard season with the Dolphins, right? So
Right.
I mean, he's physically exactly what you're looking for in wide receiver. I mean, he's 6'3", 220 pounds. So he'd be a nice complement to Michael Pittman for the size. The Colts would actually have some legit size on the outside. I do think this still, even if they were to trade or sign Parker, say he does get released, I do think they still need that over-the-top guy at wide receiver, but you would feel good about your number 1 and number 2. If DeVante Parker is your number 2, you're doing really well. And for how it's weird, like this year with how much the wide receivers have been moved. There's a lot of wide receivers like a Tyreek Hill or a couple other guys that have gotten signed or traded, like Devontae Adams, that have gotten these huge contracts. But there's also, in contrast, these other guys that have been pretty good players in the past that are getting traded for virtually nothing. And so I think it'd make a ton of sense now that you have a little bit of leverage with your quarterback now, you know who your quarterback's going to be. It'd make a ton of sense in my perspective for the Colts to go get a guy like Parker, just get Matt Ryan more weapons because wide receiver right now in terms of the free agent market, you think Valdez-Scantling might go to the Chiefs here. He with them losing Tyreek Hill, he might want to go there and play with Patrick Mahomes. So really, who do you have? You have Jarvis Landry and you have Odell Beckham, who may not even play most of the season. So the wide receiver market's pretty dry, all that to say. It would make a ton of sense to have a guy under contract for a couple years. And then, he's still 29 years old, so he still has some time. He's still in his prime right now. I think it makes a ton of sense from all those standpoints.
Say me too. I think it would make a lot of sense. Plus, I thought he had a pretty good year last year, and he played with Jacoby Brissett and Tua as his quarterback. I think we can all agree Matt Ryan is a better quarterback. I think he would really benefit off of a guy like Matt Ryan. He played really well with like Ryan Tannehill, guys like that. So if I'm, DeVante Parker and I see there's an opportunity to play with a quarterback like a Matt Ryan, I'm jumping at that because there's potential that he could have a really big year with Matt Ryan.
Yeah, and I look at it like this. It's a low-risk, potentially high-reward trade for the Colts that they were going to trade for him because, at the worst, you're stuck with him for 2 years and you go improve your wide receivers and he's not really a factor, But at best, he's what he's been in his career. He's been a solid number 2 wide receiver. I think he still has upside. I really do think he has upside. He just needs to stay healthy. And if he can stay healthy, I feel really good about where he could be, especially with how all the teams in the AFC are gearing up, right? They're getting all these weapons. They're getting all these receivers. Matt Ryan needs some more receivers outside of Michael Pittman. He just does. And so this makes a ton of sense. Do the Dolphins want to move him? We don't know yet, but it makes sense that they would want to, right? They'd want to get rid of him, give him an opportunity to respect him, get him more of an opportunity to go somewhere else and to, maybe earn another contract, maybe get another contract extension, maybe prove himself in a way. It would make a ton of sense for me.
Yeah, me too. It would definitely make a lot of sense. Like you said, it's not going to cost a whole lot of money to get him. You need to add more weapons. You need more defensive guys too, but you need to add weapons for your quarterback because that's what everybody's doing in AFC. It's pretty much, it's like in college football, it's like you're looking at the SEC and then you're looking at the NFC as like a, I don't know, like a WAC conference. Like I don't even know what WAC stands for in college. It's like Western or something silly like that. But yeah, I mean, you got to gear up. You got to have a lot of offensive firepower to keep up with the teams like the Chargers and the Raiders. And now Miami, you got to keep up with Miami too. So yeah, I think adding a guy like DeVante Parker, that's definitely something I would do. It's not the only thing I would do, but if they do have him available, I would go after him for sure.
I mean, Matt Ryan made guys last year in Atlanta like Russell Gage, and I don't even know who else looked good. So surround your quarterback with some legit options. That's all I'm asking. Surround him with some options. DeVante Parker fits exactly what you want. There's been some mutual interest there before. Pull the trigger, Ballard. It makes a lot of sense that the Dolphins wonder. And maybe if he's released, you don't have to trade a draft pick. That would be nice. But in the event that he's not, he's available for trade, I think it'd make a ton of sense for both sides moving forward. So, all right, guys, let us know in the comments what you think. Do you think a trade for DeVante Parker would make sense from a Colts perspective? Would you like a trade? Do you want to wait and hope that he's potentially released? Do you want DeVante Parker at all? Let us know in the comments. That'll do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, go Colts.